Welcome back to Unlockable Content. Wolfman here, Lewis Wolf, hitting you with movie reviews. Long overdue. I'm not even going to say anything about it, you guys. It's the same routine. I swear, I'm going to get better at it. I'm going to be more on time. Then I group you with, anywhere from 5 to 8 movies at once. And there was, 2019 was a mess. We all know that. I plan on doing a personal vlog talking about things because there's plenty of things to talk about. But that's not why we're here. Here we're talking about movies. And I do have a small list for you. So we're going to talk about the last few movies I saw in 2019 and lead into the first movie of 2020 that I saw. So we're going to start this list. It's no particular order. Scary Stories. A lot of people had a lot of things to say about that one. And for good reason, because it was fantastic. I'm really glad that part of me is glad that I have this big gap between release for a lot of these, because you get these reviewers that do it like, I just got back from the theater, and you get these immediate knee-jerk reactions, and then like 2 months later, if you were to ask them what they thought about the movie, odds are it would not be the same as what their review said online. So I'm glad that I actually had some time to sit and think about these. So Scary Stories was a fantastic watch. It really captured the essence of the stories that it was bringing to life, the movie plot that connected all of them. Everything felt very cohesive. It went together well. I was invested. It was all so memorable too. I can think about it vividly. So I really enjoyed going through this one. So Scary Stories. What do I give that out of 10? I mean, it was solid and definitely one worth owning. But where do we go? Try to get through each of these movies pretty quick. Scary Stories, I'm feeling an 8. Solid 8 out of 10. And I think that's mostly because of the PG-13 rating. I could imagine an R cut of this being, scarier. I thought it would, good job for the trailers. The trailers looked a lot scarier than I thought it would be. And that's not to say that the movie wasn't creepy. It had a different kind of scary. It wasn't, the fact that it actually stuck with me, so no, I'm upping that to 9. And here's why. Everybody thinks about a movie being scary for the jump scares, but you eventually learn those. Jump scares can be counted off, they can be predictable. You've heard me say multiple times that jump scares are a weak tool, and I don't care for them more often than not. But a really good scary movie sticks with you, and you think about it, and it makes you uneasy when it randomly enters your mind. And there were some elements about this one that it did that. It could do that. The scenes with the hallway were very unsettling. The design of a lot of the characters very unsettling. So they were very good. So yeah, Scary Stories getting a 9 out of 10. Moving on to the next one, Good Boys. Now, I talked about this a while ago. You probably heard me mention, or you saw me tweet out that I was in New York for a weekend. I was hanging out, taking like a little vacation, and it was a very nice weekend. And I got some funny stories about this. So. My fiance, she got tickets for a concert. A band that I'm not as into as her. She got the tickets way ahead of time. So we agreed. We're going to go enjoy New York together. She was going to do the concert on her own. I would find a way to entertain myself for a while, and then we'd meet up later. So I was trying to find a way to kill some time. And I had already planned on going to a movie, but I wanted to go drop off some stuff that I had bought ahead of time at our hotel and then go to the theater. My key card got demagnetized, and because of security reasons at the hotel, I was stuck out of the hotel until she finished at the concert. So it was annoying as hell. So I had to lug a whole bunch of stuff with me to the theater, and I'm sitting there, worried about anybody that may, try to mess with my bag, who knows. So I've got like wrapped around my leg in case somebody tried to like yank my bag in the theater or something. So it was annoying, but made for a fun story. So then I saw it. Good Boys. it wasn't bad. I mean, I laughed. I genuinely laughed. It's not one that I would really... If people told me they were going to put it on to watch, I'd sit and enjoy it, but this is not a movie I would seek out again. You know, there's something to be said about the high school setting, and... I mean, that's what this movie is. It's basically transplanted down. It's regressed, I guess maybe is the word. Instead of the high schoolers looking to lose their virginity, these are the middle schoolers, like, looking for their first kiss, like, looking to be accepted by the cool kids. It definitely, everybody felt pretty real to their age, though there was a lot of, you know, they're called the good boys because, you know, there's, like, an innocence to them. Some of it felt real, some of it felt forced, but it was all in good fun. There were a lot of genuinely funny moments, and I was in a pretty full theater, and everybody was into it. It was... Everybody... You definitely felt a good time around you. The funniest thing out of all of it was I'm sitting in the theater, there's the one black kid, and he's the most, like, innocent and do-gooder out of all of them. And I'm sitting next to this guy, and... he, at one point, yells at the screen, like, not out loud, but I can hear him saying next to me. He's like, hey, certain words I can't repeat, but he's like, this, you can imagine, you know, is a pussy bitch or something, like, man, I was like, really? You're attacking this actor kid, this character he's playing? With that attitude, I mean, I didn't say anything to him in the movie, but I was just like, wow, I really just heard that. It was, I was floored, and all I could do was laugh. And in hindsight, it still makes me laugh because it's just so shocking. Because I wasn't expecting it. So that. In addition to I think that in addition to being in New York is what led to the movie being memorable. Because otherwise, no. I had a good time with it. If I had just seen it, you know, in Pottstown at home, probably wouldn't have stuck with me as well. So... maybe a little biased because of how I saw it, but I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It had its good moments, but I think what adds to enjoying that movie more is the stories around it more than anything. So, 7 out of 10 for Good Boys. Moving on, Abominable. So, there's a personal thing between me and my fiance about Yetis and snowmen and things like that. It's something a doll that I gave her early in our relationship that she still has, and it's a thing. So we saw this one because it just, there's an element to it that's near and dear to our hearts, and unbeknownst to us, we saw a beautiful, beautiful movie. Invested the whole way through. It looked beautiful. Honestly, I mean, I'm not remembering too much from it, but I know I enjoyed it. It was touching, it was fun at times, it was funny in other places, and it was a wonderful children's story. It was serious when it needed to be serious, it was funny when it wanted to be funny, it was beautiful all the way through. Some of the casting caught me by surprise. I think I saw that it was Eddie Izzard was one of the voices, I think. I was like, wow! And he was a fun character. He ended up being, he started off with somebody you didn't think you'd like, and turned around and it was better. And so, all the way through, very enjoyable. I'd give Abominable a solid 8 out of 10. The Addams Family. Here's one that I'm glad I'm reviewing later. Because, like I said, when I got out of the theater, I was so excited about it. I was into it. And going down the road, it was fantastic. Everybody was fun. It felt. The problem is that a lot of people are going to compare it to the live action movie that was made with Christina Ricci as Wednesday, Raul Julia as Gomez. Those movies are, they're classics. And this exists on its own. If you try to compare it to the live action ones too much, you might not end up enjoying it. You'd ruin it for yourself. This stands strongly on its own. There's a lot of wonderful things and a lot of good gothic humor, a lot of good jokes. But there's a definite coming of ageness to it, you know, about coming into your own. There's a whole thing with Pugsley becoming his own Addams and representing what an Addams is supposed to be, and the family unity feels very strong, and everybody was just a wonderful character. Everybody felt like the character they were supposed to be. Wednesday, I was worried they were going to make Wednesday a little too emo and a little too sad, and she came off fine. Her journey through the story was an interesting one. I mean, it wasn't anything amazing, but it was definitely fun to watch and see where it was going, and seeing how she was influencing another girl and what the town was doing to her and her rebellion, if you can call it that. The only character, surprisingly though, that I did kind of take issue with, and not for anything as far as the story goes, was Pugsley. All the other actors, everybody found their voice and made the character their own in their way. There was some accents thrown around that I wasn't too sure how I'd feel about. They were fine. Everybody, you know, definitely brought something to the table that definitely made a strong representation for Uncle Fester, Morticia, Granny, Gomez. They were all Wednesday. But here's where things kind of fell apart for me with Pugsley. I think he was voiced by Finn Wolfhard, Stranger Things fame. Phenomenal actor. I've loved everything I've seen him in so far. He's growing up and becoming a powerhouse actor. But because I'm such a fan of Stranger Things, his voice stuck out to me. There were other big names associated to this film, but they somehow managed to mask themselves better and become characters. And while Pugsley was a lot of fun, and I love the story the story arc he went through, I just heard Finn Wolfhard the whole time. It didn't sound like Pugsley. It sounded like an actor doing the character, and every time that he was a part of it, it kind of pulled me out of it a little bit. But I mean, talk about a nitpick minor detail. Addams Family. When I left that theater, I probably would have given it a 10 out of 10. I'm going to give Addams Family a solid 9 out of 10. I look back on that fondly. That's going to become a Halloween staple, I think, for us here at Unlockable Content. Moving forward, Dr. Sleep. I didn't read it, so I can only go off of what I know from the story and what I've heard about how things tie in and relate to The Shining. I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. Again, if this is one, I don't know if I'd necessarily rush out to go buy the DVD or Blu-ray or whatever, but if I saw it on Netflix or Hulu or any of the other streaming sites, I would definitely watch it. I mean, it is 100% worth the watch. And I loved the characters. There were story elements that I thought were fantastic. Again, things aren't... There are parts of it that were vivid. I mean, but they were like... The grander story is it's just, you know, like basic stuff's just stuck in my mind. There's nothing amazingly standout. There are moments that are vivid, but like if you were to try to ask me like what came first, what came later, that stuff that's kind of lost on me. I'd give Dr. Sleep an 8 out of 10. Ewan McGregor was really fun in it. I don't know, I didn't feel like the arc he went down, I didn't feel like, you know, that Daniel would grow up to be this character. But, and that's important, I think, because they are trying to make this like a direct sequel from Kubrick's Shining. And yeah, I didn't necessarily believe that boy grew up to be this man, but his relationship with other characters was very good. The driving force behind the bad guys in this movie was good. Going back to the Overlook was so much fun. But there was a lot hinging on nostalgia for you in this movie, and that hurt it. Didn't make it any less enjoyable, but that is something that hurt this movie. So, Dr. Sleep, I only give an 8 out of 10. Now I move on to everyone's favorite internet topic. Cats. Oh boy. Yeah. So I had a lot of fun. I saw this with Jesse Test Run. And oh god, we went in. Jesse just recently showed me something actually.
You rang?
You want to join me for cats?
Oh, sure.
Alright.
Hello, Internet. Hi, I exist.
So, we saw cats, and you just recently showed me something on your phone. It was, didn't see it, still makes fun of it, saw it ironically, saw it unironically, and I forget what the last one was, but, we're somewhere in between the joke and unironic.
No, you're between the joke. I saw it completely unironically, because I really...
You grew up with some knowledge about cats. You like your grandmother had like the album or something, you said?
My uncle had the album, okay. And I would repeatedly, like, whenever we would go for a drive, he would ask me what I wanted to listen to, and I would, and between me and my sister, I won the screaming match, because I just kept screaming cats.
So, going into this movie, they definitely had a lot of fun with the CGI, definitely. Yes. But I'm not even talking about the characters. I mean, perspective, camera angles, and the way that they created the world that we're in. I mean, because the movie begins with a person, we have no idea who, abandoning a cat in a bag.
Just like yeeting it into the trash can.
Yeah, into this back alley. But there's already a very clear, like, you know, size difference between the cat and the people and this bag and trash cans, and it definitely makes a world. Mm-hmm. So you definitely feel like you've entered another place. Now, whether or not you want to be in this place...
There were some questionable things happening at some points.
It's
been a couple years since I've actually seen the play, so I've kind of forgotten... most of it?
I'm going to defend the choice that they made with the way that the characters looked. I know a lot of people think that they look like some kind of fever dream nightmare fuel, but, you know, there
is a devil in there.
Yeah. Well, but consider that this is a stage play being made into a movie. The actors in the stage play have to go through hours of makeup to dance around and move into like these characters and play
under extremely hot stage lights.
Yeah, so to do this movie with these CG bodysuits and their faces coming through, yeah, they look like, you know, Funhouse cutout faces, you know, coming through like this, but you know, the choice to make it CGI so that they could move as fluid as they did, and the choreography, say what you will about the acting and the story overall, but the choreography was very nice. Everybody moved very nicely, and the fact that they chose to do these skin-tight CGI bodysuit things lent to that. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm going to defend it a little bit. For the cats, the mice and the cockroaches, on the other hand...
Those need to go away.
No!
That's not okay.
No! I'm going to do, like, power bang... like, zoom-ins on it. No! Don't do that! Nobody told me about that! That was not okay.
I forgot!
Yeah. Also, going in, say what you will about... Jess and I make no... We don't hide the fact that sometimes we can be awkward people.
Yes.
So say what you will about our ability to read facial cues and, like, you know, body language and things like that. But I leaned over to Jess at one point and I said the main cat, what was her name, Victoria?
I believe so.
I think so. Yeah, she's supposed to have like 3 different names. Well, we're just sticking with Victoria, I guess. Cat has 3 names. Well, I'm just Victoria. Sure. Okay. Everybody else seems to have chosen these grandiose names. Victoria. Okay. Victoria, she just looked horny for everybody. Remember I said
oh
that
my god.
Like, okay, so at one point they have a
questionable things were happening and neither of us were prepared for it.
At one point there's a cat, I can't think of his name, but he's the curious cat. What's his You know who I'm talking about. He had a good big musical number, and they did like they broke into like a milk bar or something like that.
Okay. The Playboy one.
Yeah, like I think everybody was supposed to be attracted to him, so I get why a lot of the cats, including Victoria, looked like they were like, you know, ready to go into heat.
Yeah.
But then there was Mongo Jerry and Rumple Teaser. And it just looked like there was going to be...
It looked like there was going to be a three-way. Yeah. And it was very concerning. I'm pretty sure there was, like, kids in the front row. Like, little kids in the front row.
There were little kids in our front row with cat ear.
Yes! They were wearing cat ears! And I'm like... I don't know what to do right now!
I think her character was supposed to look enthralled and enchanted.
Yes.
She just looked horny.
Yeah.
I don't know where the disconnect... I don't know what I'm not reading properly. Maybe somebody else comment. Let us know if you saw what we saw. But, I mean, you know...
If you've seen it.
Cue the South Park cutaway.
Oh my god! They're having a cat orgy.
That'll make sense when you watch this later.
I hope so.
Yeah, going through the whole thing. I mean, and then they had other actors in there. Ian McKellen. It's like they pulled him off the street and they were like, "Hey, just do the song, do this monologue, and yeah, we'll throw some money at you." I mean, everybody else, I felt like I was watching a character for the most part. Ian McKellen, because he's just such a powerhouse name, it felt out of place. I felt like I was watching, you know, Ian McKellen's secret furry life. It was just, again, he did fine. I didn't know Gandalf was a furry, but you know. So,
no, I don't want the freaking mental imagery. Make it go away.
And then there was the other thing. Everybody else, again, these were like skin tight suits, and look, nobody had visible genitalia, thankfully. But, you know, for the most part, all of the characters, they moved, they felt fine. Idris Elba plays the bad guy in this, and he walks around with this giant, like, big fur coat on, and I'm like, he's got a look to him, and he's got an air about him, and I'm digging it. And then he gets a musical number, and he, like, throws off the coat, and he's just this, like, chocolate brown cat. And it's like Idris Elba's like, you know, tight fit body, and then he's a Ken doll. And this was the only time that I ever looked at the design and I'm like, this is making me uncomfortable.
This isn't okay.
I don't know why I need Idris Elba genitalia in my life so badly right now, but this is making me uncomfortable. So yeah, I found issue with the CGI. Music was fine. I mean, these are the same songs all the way through that you know from the story. They added one also. I never would have known the difference.
If you don't get Skimbleshanks and Mr. Mistopheles stuck in your head for about a month and a half,
oh yeah,
you're doing something wrong.
Also, the actor for Mr. Mistopheles somehow looked more like Brandon Urie while he was dressed as a cat than he does outside of cat makeup. Like,
it was the top hat, I swear to God!
We were watching this and we're like, okay, we know Taylor Swift shows up at some point, but was Brandon Urie part of the cast? Did we miss that? How did we miss that? I mean, there's a lot of people in this. He looked like Brandon Urie as a cat. So, I don't know.
Is that a compliment to...
And it's a compliment to the actor, I guess. I mean, he sang very nicely. He sang well. So it was good.
I mean, I had Mr. Mistopheles stuck in my head for a month and a half.
Yeah, you've been playing all of these songs for a while, so...
They're in my head.
You know,
they won't leave.
You know, go back to the South Park clip.
You are all damn bad kidding. That is a bad kidding.
That's the bottom line. That clip is the bottom line for this movie. So, I mean, what do we give this out of 10? One other thing.
Oh, God.
And it's long enough now, and there's been enough talk about it. I don't care if I'm spoiling the ending. That cat is dead. That cat went up in a balloon and died. And yes, I am doing this just to make Jess laugh now, but that cat is dead. Oh, and one other thing, I got Jess to laugh so hard in the theater. I caught this perfectly. I couldn't do this again if I tried. So, Dame Judi Dench, the gem that she is, again, just don't know why she was in this, but she was into it, so sure, why not? she has this line in like the last song of the show where she says, "How do you address a cat?" And I leaned over to Jess and I went, pss, 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 pss.
I had everyone in the theater turn to look at me because I just died.
It was so perfectly timed. I didn't know. I didn't plan that. But it just worked out so great. And then she also has this other great powerhouse line. I want this like cross-stitched on a pillow. A cat is not a dog. Thank you. I was confused throughout the whole movie up until now.
I thought Mr. Mistopheles was a poodle.
Oh, God. So, yeah, we had a lot of fun with cats. The cat is dead, though. So, I don't know where you want to put cats.
James A. Janice, do a kill count for cats.
Through the whole runtime, only one cat died, but damn, it went up, over, and then down. Because that balloon popped, and that basket fell. And look, we went through the whole movie, and for like 90% of it, I've had to watch other people's reviews before this so that I could understand what the hell I sat through. I didn't even know we were in London at first. We get thrown into this world, and it's just, are you a jellicle cat? What the fuck is a jellicle cat?
I love that he's so angry about it. He's so frustrated. He doesn't know what happened.
And 6 out of 10. That's what I'm doing. I'm
giving it an 8 because it was adorable.
So we'll smash that together and call that a fair 7.
Fine.
Because I mean, if nothing else, you can. I don't want to say you can hate watch it because this doesn't deserve hate. It's just a bizarre sit. So watch it for the surreal what the hellness of it. It's definitely worth seeing for how what the fuck it is. So
I actually heard that a company in Japan is making plushies.
Fantastic. I'm gonna put one in a balloon and see how far it goes.
See if it just turns magically into a person.
Yeah, and if one starts giving me the eyes, then
that's up to you and your wife.
No. Okay. So the next one on the list, Disney's Opus, Frozen 2.
It wasn't bad.
No, there's a lot less talk about it than I thought there would be, and I think that says something about it. There was no way that a sequel to the powerhouse that was the first Frozen movie was ever really going to stack up. Mm-hmm. And I think everyone went in knowing that. I mean, kids were going to be excited regardless, but people that actually like really pay attention to the story and the movies and the continuing story of the characters.
I feel like I kind of like this story more than the first.
I feel like they had more fun with this story.
Yes.
Like, they almost knew that it was never going to be as good. It's not like they didn't care. There was a lot of care and attention that went into it.
I want one of the fire dragon lizard things. I need one of him.
But, I mean, there's an 80s power ballad in the middle of this movie, and I forgot what I was watching at one point. I'm like, all right, hey, who turned on VH1 in the projection booth? Let's go back. I need to know what's going on with Anna's existential crisis, because wow, that got dark at points.
Oh my god.
And here's another thing. I'm going to throw this out right now. I know there's a big push to make Elsa a lesbian for the LGBTQ plus inclusivity. But the energy that I felt off of her character running through this movie, I know I heard something saying that definitely in 3 they're going to give her a girlfriend. Don't. And I'm not saying don't do that because of LGBTQ plus inclusivity. Do the inclusivity. Make her an outright asexual. Give her to the asexuals. She's got this very strong, standing on her own energy about her, and I think she would make for a wonderful, figurehead for that.
Make Mulan the lesbian.
I mean, who knows what that movie's going to do. But anybody else that may have felt what I'm talking about, or somebody that's better about talking about this topic in particular, consider it and say it better than I am. But I'm being 100% serious. I think she would make for a wonderful representation for that. Just let her character be. She
doesn't need nobody.
No, she's a strong independent, absolutely, 100%. She's got her family love, and let that be that. So
she has Olaf.
Oh God. Yeah.
Oh God.
So there's an issue with the movie. I love Josh Gad. He's hilarious. He's an
Freaking
amazing.
Olaf got dark.
But
Who let that happen?
There was way too much Olaf in this movie. I'm sorry. I know people love Olaf.
Olaf was having an existential if anyone was having an existential crisis, it was fucking Olaf. Holy shit balls!
No.
I was not prepared for him to be like going into fucking psychology. I was not ready for a freaking Olaf psychology lesson. No,
the thing with Olaf was that he was meant to really be the one for the kids to relate to. I don't understand growing older. I don't. They were meant to relate to that heavily, but they threw impale me with your carrot noses. But there was way too much Olaf in this movie. He was perfectly balanced, I thought, in the first one. He was wonderful comic relief. It was overkill in this movie. I needed something else. And then also the fumbling that Kristoff went through. I mean, that was just cliche. That was just pure cliche storytelling.
Okay, enough with Anna and Kristoff bullshit. Give me more of the fire lizard. Give me his backstory. Make the fire lizard talk. Give me freaking more of that.
I wanted more from the other elements too. We got a lot of that horse.
Yes, we did. We did get a lot of the water.
There were lots of great moments in this. It was a fun watch. I'm glad I saw it, especially in theaters. But I mean, the first one is far more enjoyable. And really does stand alone. You don't need the sequel. The sequel was an inevitability, but you don't need it. The first one exists in a wonderful, fully encapsulated story. It lent itself to a sequel, but it works as a standalone. If you're going to enjoy any of the Frozen stories, watch the first movie. That's my opinion. So Frozen 2. 7?
Yeah, I can agree.
7 out of 10 for Frozen 2. Now, the last one before we get into 2020, the wrap-up of 2019. Here we are, and the one that everybody spent all their time counting the months down, waiting for, and all of the wonderful meh of Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. So, I want to hear from you first, because you're not really that big a Star Wars fan. It was never your thing. So
I'm not a big Star Wars fan. I'm not a big freaking Star Trek. Anything with space confuses the hell out of me.
You're just not that big in the sci-fi in general. So
yeah. If it's a sci-fi anime, sure, I'll give it a watch. But I mean, like, I never got into. The most I know about Star Wars is Jar Jar Binks is my spirit animal.
Oh God, people are going back. People are going back to the prequels now with the way that they feel about these last 3. So if you had said that like a year ago, we'd have some torches and pitchforks. But now people are being like, yeah, Jar Jar, fine. You want to take him? Go ahead. But I mean, what did you think of this going in? Because I
knew nothing.
Talk about some fresh eyes. So I want to hear what you have to think.
There were times I got confused about, like, who the characters were, like, why the Sith was bad, like, what's happening? Like, at the very, I don't want to spoil anything, but, I mean, spoiler alerts ahead, deal with it. Screw off.
Yeah, whatever. Spoilers.
You shouldn't be watching this right now if you haven't seen it.
We'll give you a timestamp to jump to for the next movie.
Why not?
Yeah.
So, at the very, like, when we were getting closer to the end, I didn't understand, like, when, what's her name?
Right.
Yeah. When Rey was about to, like, what was she doing again?
I don't know what part you're talking about.
When they're on the planet and everyone's fighting and like this.
It went in the Sith temple?
Yes.
Okay. So,
I don't understand like who all the people in the cloaks were. Like that
right,
confused the living hell out of me.
Here's where
like who the hell? Wait, if you're the last Sith, who the hell are all these people?
Yeah. So here's something I've never heard anybody else bring out this theory. So I'm going to throw this out there for all you people.
Take this, internet.
There's a whole lot of people saying that was like the Sith cult that was living on this planet and taking care of Palpatine and resurrecting him. But Palpatine had all this talk about how he was like the embodiment of the Sith and all the generations before him. Everybody thought that all those people in the stands watching this arena gladiator fight were actual people. I didn't think that. I took them as the representation of cis Pat. You can't say these words. It gets sexy.
English #1.
Yeah, and I took them as the ghosts of Sith's past. I figured that was. Those were the past Sith that he represented, watching it. The same way that Rey was talking to the past Jedi. I figured that was what was happening here. That's how I interpreted it. And that's how and I think it makes a little bit more sense if you look at it that way. Not a whole lot, but something better.
Also, why did the what are their names? The evil guy.
Kylo?
Yes. And was it his mother?
His mother was Leia.
Well, who was the old woman who was teaching Rey?
That was Leia.
Okay. Then why did Leia and name?
Kylo?
Yes. Why did they, like, disappear at the end?
Because they were father and son. Mother and son. They were their life force was connected. They were...
Okay, but why did they disappear?
That's what, like, pure Jedi get to do.
Oh.
So the idea is that, like, he redeemed himself, and it was, like, the last of her life force, and she was a pure Jedi, kinda. So
okay.
They got to, like, because they were, like, sharing their life force, they got
Welcome to Wolfman Explains.
Right, yeah. If you want to see that as a segment on unlockable content, you just unlock some content if that's what you want. Let us know in the comments below. Ask me movies to explain, in my opinion, at least, for what they are. Watch me get them horribly wrong, probably. So, but yeah, there was the biggest problem, and I've heard other people say this. This would have been a good story had they laid some groundwork ahead of it. There was nothing going into this that prepared us for it. Nobody thought throughout all of this that Palpatine could have come back. Nobody thought that was a possibility. So yeah, we were all excited when we heard his laugh in the trailer, but there was nothing ahead of time that told us that could have happened. We didn't understand. We figured it was going to be... I think everybody probably thought that it was going to be like a Sith spirit or something. His energy or life force somehow continuing on. Not that they turned him into like a crane-operated puppet. I don't know what that was, but... So...
But they're taking... That was Star Wars trying to take something from Freddy Fazbear.
I don't know what. That was Disney just trying to make money. That's all that was. So, was it the greatest closeout? I mean, overall, the story was fine. I mean, everything wrapped up nicely, the way you'd like a Star Wars story to wrap up. Excuse me. I mean, Disney owns it, and they're a cash cow, and they're going to spread things out as long as they can for forever. So, are we going to get an episode 10 in the future? Who knows? I mean, from what I understand, the story was that Lucas always had this in mind to be a 9-part series. separated into 3 sections. So hopefully Disney will honor that and
give us a side series of Jar Jar Binks.
Oh my god.
That's what I want.
I mean, it looks like who knows what we might get in the theaters now with Disney Plus and all of their stories that they're going to do with the Star Wars universe. So love or hate episode 9 Baby Yoda.
Yes.
He's right here.
Yay!
So
just poking out behind our shoulders.
So you going in with fresh eyes and how did you feel about this as a movie?
As a movie, I guess it was okay. I mean, I'm not big on sci-fi.
So where would you put this? What would you give it?
I'd give it a 7.
7. I'd be inclined to give it a 7. I mean, it looked nice. There were a lot of parts of it that looked really good. I mean, that whole thing with like the ocean, that was that was really cool. I mean, and I love sci-fi, so even as worse, space travel is still always fun and cool to look at. So
I really like that one part where who was the guy driving the ship most of the time?
Poe.
Yes.
Poe Dameron, yeah.
Yes. I liked it when he kept jumping.
Oh, that was near the beginning. Yeah, that was fun. There was a lot of good little moments between characters. There was stuff in there to try to appease fans, and I didn't hate it. It wasn't the best. It was still. I still found a lot of fun and enjoyment in it. So I think 7 out of 10. We've said already is
7
good.
out of 10 is.
So that is it for 2019 movies. Yay!
We survived.
Yeah.
Somehow.
That's all of them. I know usually I try to do a big year in review where I go back for all of them and then wrap it up. But 2019, like I said at the start of this, was a mess. So
yes. I
finished up my 2019 movies. There they are. We're moving into 2020 now. And our first movie of 2020, we're starting off strong.
I fucking hate it.
So we saw Underwater.
I hate it.
Alright, so we saw the trailers for this one a couple of months back. Or do we see it in theaters, or do we? Sometimes Jess and I do these YouTube binges of horror movie trailers.
Yes.
And I forget if we saw it on there first or if we saw it in the theater first. But we saw the idea for the story about a deep sea drill team coming across Lovecraftian horrors down in the depths. And we're like, this sounds amazing!
Now, mind you, I have a huge phobia of water.
I think it's called thalassophobia.
No, I don't. There's always a bigger fucking fish, and I am not okay with it! Go away! Fucking Finding Nemo gave me nightmares! 'Cause no! Go away! What the fuck are you?
So, we were excited with the idea of this story. We weren't even bothered that Kristen Stewart was the main lead. T.J. Miller, he's fun. So there was a lot of good stuff going into this. Then we started it. And, we talked about cats just kind of literally yeeting you into the story. This one, we've met Kristen Stewart and a spider. A daddy long.
We don't even know how it got down there. I want to know. I wish there was an end credit scene, but spoiler alert, there's not. I wish there was an end credit scene with the where we find out if the spider made it out. That's what I want to know. Did the daddy long legs make it out, or did she just save a spider out of the sink for no reason?
Because we know what happened next, so there's no way that spider survived.
Spiders can be resilient. Don't fucking...
Not at the bottom of the Marianas Trench. I'm sorry to say. Or I'm not so sorry to say, because thalassophobia, arachnophobia. So, I'm getting better. You've probably seen in the back of some of our videos, I've got that, mobile of a whole black spider family.
Can we just... Is there a way to, if
you tilt that.
Hey, no spiders.
Yeah.
That's Steve and his family.
So,
Meh.
but we haven't met anyone. We have the movie tries to give you, the movie doesn't even try to give you context at the beginning. The movie starts with news articles that actually make more sense for the end of the movie. And then we just keep meeting characters, and then they keep dying. And sorry if you feel like that's spoiler territory. We're not telling you how or when or why.
Or who.
But it's just we meet people, we're with them for a few minutes, they die. And I even said it.
I start to like get attached to a character because believe it or not, one of them says, in a little rant, like they're explaining something, and at the very end, it's like, I watch anime and that's all I know. And I'm like, seriously? Did a Hollywood movie just mention anime? Cause that never happens! Ever!
So, I mean, and I even made a joke at one point as we were leaving, like, they actually kill people in alphabetical order, in trope alphabetical order! Skip the next, like, 30 seconds, I'll timestamp this, but, so, here's your spoiler concern, if you're worried about it, you know, skip
Run
to this
away!
moment. Skip to this
Move!
moment.
Do not do this!
First they kill the black guy, then they kill the comic relief, then they kill the old wise man, and or old leader, and then they kill the protagonist. BCOP. That is alphabetical order. Trash! I'm sorry, but that is just pure trash. This movie had so much potential. There was literal Lovecraftian horror built into the plot.
The monsters didn't even have fucking bioluminescence.
Yeah,
like,
getting into
which
that.
is a thing that is supposed to happen the deeper you go, which is terrifying, and it didn't have it, and what the fuck?
Yeah, scientifically speaking, when you get
I'm
down
saying
to the
this,
point
and
where...
I was going to be terrified if they did.
Scientifically speaking, once you get past the point where light penetrates the water, you start getting into creatures that can produce bioluminescence. And it's beautiful, and it's weird, and it's
The fucking
terrifying.
anglerfish!
And there are jellyfish that do it, and other fish that do it. And it would have been so cool to have these creatures have these glowing elements, because half the time the movie is just dark. I'm not saying that you don't get some good visuals of the creatures, but they're kind of bland, and a lot of the time it's dark. And it would have been so great to have these moments where it's like, is something there? You can kind of see something swim by in the shadows, and all of a sudden, bright lights, and it's flashing in front of you, and this mouth is there.
Cthulhu didn't even fucking have, like, any bioluminescence.
So, amazing potential, and it was just squandered. And it almost feels like they were trying to possibly lead into a sequel with one of the things that happen at the end. We're trying to make this as spoiler free as possible. Sorry if we feel like we crossed the line, but yeah, I'm starting to lose my voice over the excitement from this movie and cats. But I just went on this whole rant about how I think it's better to do these reviews later so that I have time to sit on the movie and see how it affected me. And we actually saw that doing exactly what I just said. We just got home from seeing this not too long ago. But honestly, this movie is not going to improve with time.
No.
This is a movie to wait for Netflix. This is absolutely a Netflix movie.
When leaving the theater, I don't usually get mad at, like, even, like, bad movies. I felt extremely ripped off, because I felt like we just paid to see a fucking Netflix adaptation movie, or some Netflix movie that...
Like, it doesn't even utilize the big screen well. Like, because there are elements of it that are so dark, you don't even get, like, size and scale properly. So this really feels like a Netflix movie. So save your money, see it on Netflix, because, I mean... If
you really want, like, a good, like, underwater horror whatever, watch Markiplier or Jacksepticeye play fucking Subnautica, or Cub Scouts, or, like, freaking any of the other hundreds of gamers who have played these games.
Shout out!
Try me.
So save your money. If you really want to see it on Netflix. I think I gave it like a 6 when we left the theater, but I'm dropping that down to a 5.
Giving it a freaking 3.
I mean, I could, and if you ask me what I thought of it, in 2 months, I might even drop down to 4. I mean, there was definitely effort into making it. There was definitely thought into the story. There's still a lot you could do with this concept. It just needs to be done better. It wouldn't be hard to do it better. So
get a fucking lead character who can actually, portray emotion.
So, yeah, we're giving this. You said 3, I said 5, so we're meeting in the middle out of 4 already, I think. So
yeah.
So we're going into 2020. We're off on.
Please God, let us freaking have better movies.
I'm leaving 2019 behind. I'm going to move into 2020 better, and I'm going to be much more timely with my movies. I know I've said it before in the past. I'll probably still fail, but I'm treating this like a new year, and I'm going to aim for doing better. So, see you in 2019. Welcome 2020. We're already off on a wonderful cinematic note.
I'd say we're off pretty swimmingly.
Oh.
Don't hit me! No! Okay, I'm leaving. Goodbye! Bye!
Take
Before
care.
I die!